Welcome to Recharge with Richardson, 5 minutes of hope and inspiration every Monday and Thursday. And now, here is today's episode. Well, we're really excited to be back with you this Monday. This is the first Monday of May, if you can even imagine that. Can you believe that we're already 1/3 of the way through 2021 and that's behind us? It's incredible. I'm so grateful for the privilege of being able to be on this journey with you. And today I want to keep going with Exercise Your Body with part two, because we were really in the middle of some really great stuff in our last episode, but we ran out of time. And so I'm going to pick up where we left off. And I want to remind you of the scripture that we looked at, 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 24 and part of verse 25, where it says, "Do you not know that those who run in a race all run, but one receives the prize? Run in such a way that you may obtain it. And everyone who competes for the prize is temperate in all things." And so the Bible's telling us again that physical discipline is an important part of life. Why? Because physical fitness does have spiritual ramifications. Because when our bodies are healthy, our minds can function much more clearly to connect with God. And that's really the point of why I'm even sharing this with you. And so last time we were talking about how exercise actually increases your lifespan. And this next fact will probably also blow your minds as we talk about the fact that I think every 1 hour of exercise can add 4 hours of length to your lifespan. And maybe I reverse those, but in any case, exercising lengthens your lifespan. But here's also the effects of aerobic exercise, and in terms of lack of it. So low fitness, get this, is the strongest mortality factor. And here's what will blow your minds: even over smoking and high blood pressure or high cholesterol. Now, don't get me wrong, smoking is a very close second, and I'm not minimizing its evil or its killing effects and all those kinds of things. But what I want you to understand is this: the truth is that low fitness, being out of shape physically, is worse for your health actually than smoking. Let me put it another way. Think about it like this. This is kind of hard to wrap our minds around, but here's the statement. If a person smokes and has high blood pressure, but if they are physically active, getting exercise, their odds of dying prematurely are lower, I said lower, than for someone who doesn't smoke, doesn't have high blood pressure, but is not exercising and is out of shape. Is that shocking or what? I think a lot of us need to stop feeling good that we don't smoke and start feeling bad that we don't exercise. Because exercise or lack thereof is a bigger risk factor in terms of your mortality than smoking. Phenomenal. Now, again, I'm not advocating for smoking. I'm just really trying to advocate for exercise. Stay away from smoking, get off it if you're already on it, but get onto that exercise. Now, enough about aerobic exercise. I'd like to transition to strength training, which is different. Strength training is when you use weights to work out your muscle groups and perhaps build a little bit of muscle mass. Now, I'm not talking about becoming an Arnold Schwarzenegger bodybuilder, kind of a muscle bound kind of a guy, but I'm just talking about some resistance training to tone and perhaps even build your muscles a little bit. Because the benefits of strength training include a higher metabolism, increased muscle and tendon strength, bone density, improved self-esteem, decreased of injuries and lower back pain, which is a big problem for a lot of people, and less disability with aging, to name just a few. In other words, if you're doing strength training, it actually helps you as you're aging with your balance and walking and all those kinds of things. You can stay at it much longer. So the research on strength training actually shows that it may improve life expectancy even more than aerobic exercise does. In fact, it's the best anti-aging strategy that we have. Now, some good guidelines that apply to exercise in terms of aerobic and strength training are this: Do moderate cardiovascular or do moderate aerobic exercise 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Now, interestingly, you don't have to do all that 30 minutes all at one time. If you're saying, oh, how can I ever block out 30 minutes to exercise? You don't have to do it. You can do it in two 15-minute segments, or you can do it in three 10-minute segments. The key is that you have to get your heart rate up to about 80% of your maximum for that period of time. So as long as you get your heart rate up, you can still break it up into segments. And number two, if you can't do moderate cardio exercise 5 days a week, do vigorous cardio exercise 20 minutes a day, 3 days a week. And so you can do one or the other in terms of aerobic exercise. 5 days a week, 30 minutes, 3 days a week, 20 minutes, as long as that 20 minutes is vigorous and the 30 minutes is moderate. Now, number three, this comes to do with strength training, and that is that you want to do 8 to 10 strength exercises, 8 to 12 reps each, 2 days per week. That's on the strength training side. And we need both types. So again, do 8 or 10 different strength training exercise, do 8 to 12 reps of each of those exercises and do it twice a week. Now, I've pretty much personally, I've pretty much got the aerobic side down. I'm doing pretty well on that. But what I have to be honest with you is I really have to work on the strength training side of it. I'm not doing so great on that. Now, when we do this, we need to sweat moderately and not be able to sing. That's how you know if you're really getting enough exercise. If those two things aren't there, if you can still sing, and if you're not sweating, then you're not exercising hard enough to do yourself any good. And that's the whole point, is to do some good. Now start on this gradually, ease into it, and set some short-term goals for exercise and do it with someone else, because it really helps. I know, for example, with me again, because I wasn't really doing good in aerobic exercise either at a point in my life, one of the things that really helped me get started with that was signing up to do a Tough Mudder race. And if you haven't heard of those, look them up on the internet, pretty fun stuff. And it was a good goal to work towards. There were others of us that had signed up, and so we were in a group and we were doing things together, and it really helped to have that support. So I just want to really encourage you to find a doable way to begin incorporating physical exercise into your life if it's not already there. Not only will you feel better physically, but you'll be better off spiritually too. This thing is going to add more years to your life, and it's going to add more life to your years. And remember, no matter what you're going through, God's got this, and God's got you, and His grace is sufficient. Thank you for joining us for Recharge with Richardson. Don't forget to join us for our next episode, and until then, may God fill you with joy and peace and hope.